another wonderful WrestleRoni for me and for you. We're bringing Mountain State Wrestling Federation back to the show. American-made John Michael. How we feeling, Bubby?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you, man. You guys really came out the gate swinging this year. You've been on the news, just racking up views. Got the franchise Shane Douglas at shows. You're drawing crowds. First of all, props. I've never seen a promotion start up and really take to it like you guys have. So, want to give you props and take me through your 2025. What was it like for you?
It was a wild ride. I mean, it was exciting. I we started in August and done our first show, and then after that, it was just like it kept growing, getting bigger and bigger. And then I got in talks with WDTV, Vince and Holly. First of four, they were very generous. They could let us come on. Um, it got like you said, it blew up. It well, just on Facebook alone, almost 20,000 views. It was just a little under. Um, So yeah, I mean it's been a wild ride so far, and 2026 is just getting started. So
Oh yeah.
I think we're going to really knock the socks off of 2026.
And I can't put it over enough. You guys being on local television. Everybody I know in West Virginia, 5:30, 6 o'clock, they're watching the news. I don't know if it's. I guarantee it, it's that way all over the world. But man, not only did you put eyes on you guys, you put eyes on the whole scene, and I don't think you guys get recognition for that. So I want to give you props. We've been doing wrestling in West Virginia since wrestling began, and there hadn't been a whole lot of news appearances, especially recently. So you guys are obviously doing something right. Take me through that day, man. Like I say, that's a huge deal. I don't even know if you realize what a big deal it is for independent wrestling here in West Virginia. But take me through that day, the nerves, and how it went down for you.
I was a little nervous. I've never been really on, what you say, live TV or anything. I'd reach out to Vince and Holly and WDTV, and they got back to me and told me they said that they would love to have us. And I said, said we're just getting started, but we're very professional. We try to make the best of it. And I said we would really appreciate being on the show. And they told me they said, how would you guys feel about doing this? And like they were pitching ideas that I had in my head that I didn't think they would even allow. But um, yeah, we got it all worked out. And I told them, I said, have you ever had any wrestlers on here before? And they said, yeah, we've had other promotions, but they said not like you guys.
Okay.
You guys, you brought your characters here. You're ready to go. Mostly everybody else just come in like they were just somebody off the street and didn't, play the part or, try to, promote the way that we did.
Mm-hmm.
So and it was, like I said, I was a little nervous. You could tell in my interview, but like I said, first time being on live TV, it was more of adrenaline, I think, than anything.
I'm sure, man. And that's what I really liked about it. Like, I expected a news interview, and to say the least, we got way more than was expected. To be able to work an angle to promote the upcoming show, the table bumps and chair shots, and the corny acting from the news anchors, and just and I say that in the most complimentary way. It's not a derogatory way, man. Wrestling's supposed to be corny, corn dog it up, and dude, I've watched that segment so many times. I stole it from them, put it on the channel. So whatever, man. I like to represent West Virginia wrestling and the good in West Virginia wrestling, and I think it's a super good thing, man. So props to
Oh
all
yeah,
of you. Well, you talk about
yeah,
nerves. Go ahead if you have anything to add to it.
yeah. It was just a great time, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. We're like I said, we're in talks doing some other stuff with them, so I'm really looking forward to doing it.
Okay. And you talk about nerves, man. I know you and Ace were part of RSW, broke away, and decided to start your own deal. Let's go back to the first show. Let's take it back. You're getting everything into place. You're going to run a show. Take me back to the day of that first event, just how things went down.
Um, well, it was August 22nd is when we booked that show. We did it up at the warehouse where we train in Elkins, and we were in talks about it. And once we broke away from RSW, we just kind of, what are we going to do and how are we going to do this? And Ace has been our head trainer. He's been doing really good with our talent. Um, he's helped me a lot. Because I'm just pretty much getting my start. I ain't been in a year yet, but he's helped me grow a lot and do things that I didn't think that I could do. But yeah, so we got this all planned out for August 22nd, and I'm like, nobody really knows who we are. Let's just do like a family and friend thing. And me and Ace and Law talked about it, got it situated, and I said, it'll be nice weather. So then we ended up, it was mostly coworkers, friends, family, stuff like that, and we did just a pre-show just to see how it would turn out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we ended up having people that was just coming down the street and they seen this wrestling ring outside and they just stopped.
Mm-hmm.
They just parked along the road and just walked over and started watching. We had a guy across the street, neighbor guy there from the warehouse. He flew his drone over and recorded it.
Okay.
And but there was like 150, 160 people that showed up.
Nice.
Yeah. And we didn't imagine that it would be that big at first.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, being our first show.
Right. And I mean, kudos, because yeah, that's a bit unheard of unless you're a big promotion with big money, bringing in some big names, And that's not a
Right.
knock on anybody, but especially around here, how you gonna know anybody unless you're on the internet 24/7 like dorky ass Spooky Lou? So, and I noticed, hey man, you went to my old high school. You're from my old stomping grounds, Barber County, and you guys are bringing a show to Philippi. I haven't been back in years, but I know back in my day, wasn't a whole lot to do in old Philippi. You could go down to Sheets and smoke some cigarettes and have a few drinks at Lil Mo's and maybe get you an egg roll from the Chinese place. That was about it, unless you wanted to go up on the mountain and really get wild. But I think that's a good thing for Philippi, man. I don't know how much has changed since I've been away, but I think Philippi needs some entertainment. So tell me about the feelings going into this Philippi show coming up.
I'm excited. Like I said, like you mentioned, it's my hometown, and like you said, it's your hometown. But I mean, actually, I wanted AB really bad, and I didn't know if I was going to get it. And then I got to talking to Sherry and them, and she's really nice, and we worked it out, got AB booked, and I'm actually in talks with the city of Philippi, with council and the city manager. They're talking. We're probably going to have a couple shows there this year. Bring some stuff into town. We're in talks about doing some of the parades for like the blue and gray. Uh, Lurch Fest was on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that we're with our following that we have gotten. I think that bringing us into Philippi will make people come around town a little bit more. I when I talked to AB, I told her I said, maybe I might try to get some sponsors for this show. And I went around to all the local businesses and small businesses and asked them to sponsor. And, Moe's, Rocky River Tire, Wright's Funeral Home, Hank's Discount Pawn, the Pawn Shop, Bargain Barn, Clint Newman's. Um, they all, jumped in. Mace's Pharmacy, um, and they pitched in and made this show possible. And I really want to thank them and give them a shout out on here because they were gracious enough to help sponsor this show, and I hope it I hope we blow it out of the water. I hope this show, which I think it's going to be one of the biggest shows that we've ever had.
Yeah, man, I agree 110%. And like I say, couldn't be prouder of what you guys are doing. So let's turn the page a little bit here. Your couple critics that you do have out there, the criticism is, how are these guys running shows? They're still in training and they're having shows out there. I say to that, I see a lot of training places having shows with trainees that aren't quote unquote fully trained yet, and that's how you get reps in. I'm watching shows that are streamed live with trainees and televised, syndicated across the world with trainees. But to those critics that's saying, "Oh man, these trainees are running a promotion," what's the rebuttal to that, sir?
I don't really worry too much about what they got to say. I mean, sticks and stones. I mean, what we do, we've proven them wrong time and time again. I've watched some of their stuff here recent, and I've seen people get hurt more on their show than what they have said about us.
Okay.
I've heard so many comments of, well, they're not trained, they're going to hurt somebody, or you're going to cripple somebody, or this and that. And then you hear about an accident at their place, and it's like, well, you know, that's the pot calling the kettle black. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we've been fortunate enough that we train our guys. We try to take time with them. And when they do get in that ring for a match, like if they're not fully trained, we don't give them something that's going to be too much to handle. We
Right
put
on.
them in with a vet, somebody like me or Ace or somebody that's worked a little bit more to know, to talk them through. And we pulled out some good matches. I mean, a couple of our guys have only, the few shows that we've done. That's the matches that they've had,
Yeah.
and I just think they keep getting better. I don't see any fault in it. I just see everybody progressing and growing, and that's what you want. I mean, you can't just keep holding somebody back and saying, well, maybe next time, or, you know, I don't have anything for you, or I had a spot at a show that the show ended up not happening, but um, I had a spot at the show, a different organization,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in my hometown of Brownton. I lived in Brownton, and it was actually for the Brownton Community Center, and that's my cousin's. She runs that, and I said, I really want a spot. Just give me something. Give me a small match. Put me in with a vet. Let me, work it. Whatever I got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was going to be a battle royal, and I was going to be in there for like 2 minutes, maybe a minute,
Mm-hmm.
and then get eliminated. And kind of felt like that was kind of crappy. And then my cousin's like, "Well, I'm not booking them if, that's the whole reason I was going to book them, because I wanted you to be there to do something, because you would bring the crowd because you're the hometown guy."
Okay.
And so I just feel like, you got to have a shot. You got to give them a chance. And if they mess up, as long as they mess up and they see what they did to mess up, correct it, work on it.
Makes perfect sense to me, man. How can you learn and grow? And I'll be the first to say, man, I don't put my stamp of approval on everybody. I've got a some sort of reputation in my mind, at least, that I need to uphold. But I'm a part of your guys' group chat, and I see how you guys talk, and I can see that you guys are good people with good intentions. You do want to grow. You don't think you're better than anybody. So I put the stamp of approval on it. I share the flyers, and I'll have you guys on the show all day because so far so good. You guys haven't done anything crazy. People aren't getting hurt. People are talking shit on you, and you're just bending and you're taking it in stride. So I got to give you guys, like I say, I got to give you guys kudos. I'm not on here to kiss your ass. I don't kiss nobody's ass, but I'm just explaining.
No, we appreciate you, man.
Hey, like I think you guys are doing it right, and as far as somebody, promotion less than a year old and the crowds you're drawing, and not just the crowds, watch the matches. There's there's worse matches from promotions that have been around for years with wrestlers that have been around for years, especially in our area, man. Here's my thing. We're in West Virginia. And I've said it on the podcast before. This ain't going to be no shocking revelation. In West Virginia, there's no state athletic commission. If I wanted to go have a show in my front yard, charge tickets, and we could, no ring, just beat the hell out of each other in my front yard, I could do it if I wanted to. But you guys are trying to do it right. So,
Right, right.
you know, so, yeah, to those critics, oh well, man. Oh well. I mean, since we're in the thick of things now anyway, tell me about the RSW experience. The good, the bad, the ugly. I know you was training there, you left with Ace, but what can you say about it?
Like you said, there was good times, there was bad times. I just felt like that we weren't really going to get used as much as that we thought we were. Um, some creative ideas were pitched, and I was like, I kind of had this idea of what I wanted. I mean, of what I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't want to be under a mask. I didn't want to be, you know, just another guy coming out in shorts and a t-shirt. I wanted to be me. This kid, John Michael, and that's what I wanted to be. And um, we just didn't see eye to eye on certain things. And then, you know, I didn't always make it to practice. I tried, uh, 45 minutes from my house. So, and I worked night shift, 12-hour shifts. And, you get to practice and they're like, well, you missed practice last week. Give me 80 squats or give me this or that. And I'm like, I got a light. I can't just drop everything for you guys. So, that's when kind of stuff started going downhill. They did a show in Taylor County. I went down there to help set up the ring. I worked a 16-hour shift that night, and I
Wow.
went down to set up the ring. And Marcus is like, "You didn't show up for practice. I wanted some reps." And I'm like, "Brother, I worked. Like I don't know what you want me to tell you. I work evening shifts." And Brandon started doing the reps, so I felt bad, so I started doing them with him because, like, I didn't want him standing there doing them myself, but
Okay.
I just felt like I shouldn't have got reprimanded for missing practice by just living my life and doing what I'm supposed to do. I mean, I got a family to take care of too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, that's what's bringing the income in. In the meantime, the wrestling, the income's going out. So, and
Right.
I was just talking about Rucker on the last show. He takes it super seriously, and the early days of his training were no joke. I'm not, I am defending the guy, I guess, because he's my bud. But
Oh, I mean, I like
yeah,
Rucker. I like Marcus. I have nothing bad to say about Marcus, and I know it was just his upbringing and his training.
and
So
he'll,
no, I'm not sore at him in any kind of way. I mean, we're still friends on and stuff. I haven't talked to him in a bit, but I have nothing really bad to say on that. It's just like it's just kind of crazy how things spiraled out with RSW, and then they lost a training center in Elkins, and they were going to start doing one in Fairmont, and I'm like, that's even farther for me, and um, it just a lot of backstage stuff too, like guys back and forth bickering and tattletelling and whining, and I just
drama
I had
central. If like
drama.
if you can't recognize that RSW is the epicenter of drama in West Virginia wrestling, then you must not be paying attention. I'll be the first to say that. And hey, man, guilty as charged. Believe me, when the drama would go down, I would be the first one on the front line, baby, just throwing it down. And still, I'm on the other line now, throwing it down. But yeah, what I was saying about Rucker, he does take it super seriously. I can't fault him there. But like you said, man, I'm out here living my life and I'm going to take the paycheck from work instead of paying you to make me go do reps. I mean, it's just, I love wrestling just as much as you do, or maybe more, maybe less. I don't know. We love wrestling, but you have kids, you have a family, and I think that's something that Rucker he can't relate to just yet. And he's
Yeah, I
young.
mean, he's
He's young.
still young,
Mm-hmm.
he's young, and me and him talked before about stuff, and like I said, I have no problem with Rucker. I like Rucker, and I mean, he's doing good things. I mean, he's not only just at RSW, he's going to different places, and I think he's young and he's going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And I,
but yeah, it was just mostly drama stuff and just certain things like little things that I would see or hear, and I'm just kind of like, mm, you know, do I really want to keep going with this? And I just feel like I don't have any creative direction going into this. I don't feel like they're going to use me like I want to be used, or. And like I said, I know you got to put in your dues and you got to put in your time. And I swear to you, anytime I was off work and could get to arena to help them set up, tear down, um, if they had something they left at the arena, if I could go grab it for them and get it, I'd go get it, take it back. You know, I'd help out any way I could because I felt like at least owed that because if I couldn't make a show, I had to work. Then I would try to help them, as much as I could with anything else.
Yeah, man, and you're being very generous with that arena word, but we'll let it slide. And that's not a bash at them. It's West Virginia Indie Wrestling. The only person running arenas is Gary Dameron with ASW, and that's still stretching a little bit. But yeah, I just want
Yeah, yeah. Venues, we'll say venues, small
venues.
venues.
There we go. Well, I don't want to come on here and shit all over them. Give me a positive memory from the RSW experience.
um, Dee Dee and Polly and Rucker, them guys. They and Benny Maverick was good to me. Um, they kind of took me under their wing on certain things, like stuff that they could see that I needed to work on, and they would help a little bit here and there on certain things, and I really appreciated that. And if I had an idea, I'd ask them their opinion on it. Like when I got to going with theme music or and how to play this character and do things, creative things, I would go to Paulie and Dee Dee and uh, Rucker, and I'd be like, "What do you think about this?" Or even Vance Desmond. Vance Desmond was okay with me too. Like I didn't have really no trouble with him, and Vance is, he's been in it for a while, so
Mm-hmm.
I'd pitch him ideas. Sometimes a lot of the stuff would get shut down. Like, we'd have different uh, opinions on things, but they was always pretty nice to me. Like I said, they would work with me if I had a question. They were right there to answer or you know point me in a direction.
Mm-hmm. And I can already see the comments coming from where you said, they had some creative ideas that I didn't like. Now, yeah, you're brand new, so who cares if you don't like the creative? But those same critics, the same people making those comments would say, if you don't like it, you go work somewhere else. And from what I hear, you didn't make no big stink. You didn't argue. You went and worked somewhere else. I mean, is
Yeah,
that
I
fair?
didn't really leave on I didn't leave on bad terms or nothing. I just told Tim, and I had some stuff going on, personal stuff, and I just told him, like I feel like I'm going to step away for a while, and that was kind of the plan. Like I just stepped away, and then um, me and Ace and Law got to talking, and um, it wasn't a few months later, Mountain State Wrestling Federation was born, and
There you go.
it's just like I said, it's just skyrocketed so far. So
Dude, everybody bitches, oh, we got enough alphabet soups. Believe me, when the EIW started, I saw all the posts and I got all the messages. But here's the thing, man. If you can do it and you can do it your way and you have the money to do it, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't take their own money and book themselves against a franchise Shane Douglas? Jeff Paul's booking himself against Matt Riddle. I mean, it goes on everywhere. So, like, who wouldn't do it?
right.
Do you pay attention to the West Virginia scene? Because I know you mentioned, you see Rucker doing going here and there, but do you keep an eye on what's going on here in West Virginia?
I keep an eye on some stuff. I mean, I watch certain stuff like with Jeff Paul, or like I'll see Gen Z going places and stuff too. And then he's another one that was in RSW that was good to me. Him and OK and Lane Callie, and I see these kids doing good in different organizations, and I see a lot of different organizations. We and Law actually were talking. Uh, Joe Brody owns down in Beckley,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about maybe um, Joe was going to do a show for us last time. He's going to do the Seneca Mall. Well, it ended up with the weather and stuff. He couldn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, we're looking at them for coming in the future, and they might want us down there.
There you go.
So we're willing to work with other companies. We don't have a problem with that.
Good, good, and that's good company to keep. So good on you. Yeah, the reason I was asking, if you pay attention to what's going on around here, I always ask everybody because we cover West Virginia independent wrestling on here. Uh, what do you see and what do you like? And if you're seeing anything you don't like, I'd like to hear about that too. As far as the landscape here in West Virginia, what are you seeing?
Uh, I, I think all of us in a whole business, and we're doing decent with it, and some of the other places are doing good. Um, I feel like a lot of places here in West Virginia though, like a lot of the characters are the same, and I
Okay.
feel like that. I feel like that. They're all pushing the good old boy gimmicks and stuff like that when there's such a broad aspect of what they could do, and you know, I just think that they need to be more openly like creative.
I was going to say you're
Um,
being real
so they
generous with that character word too, acting like there's more than like 7 characters around here. But go ahead.
But yeah, but you know what I mean. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like there's too much of the same thing. Like, uh, we the way we do things, like the news bit. Um, I want to broadcast it. I want us to be something bigger. I want us to expand, and like, even if maybe in the future, maybe we might get a slot somewhere on television around West Virginia. Who knows? But that's kind of our goal, and I feel like if everybody would set that bar and like try to push higher and higher, um, that they could expand more and do a little bit different things
You
and,
bring
and be different instead of just the same song and dance every time.
Right on. Yep. And you bring up a good point there too, man. Like I think too many people are worried about what this guy's going to think or this promoter's going to think or this promotion's going to think. I've been told when I was running camera, don't shoot the empty chairs. And I know, I think a lot of these promotions around here don't record because they don't want people to see that there's not a crowd there. And guess what, man? A lot of these places don't draw. You're lucky if you break
Yeah,
even. So, record it at least so the boys have something for their YouTube or their social media, some tape study to watch back, see what they're doing wrong. It's a shame, and I'm watching my language because I know you have some young fans. I'm doing my best. It is a shame that the boys are having to bring people in the door to record their matches for them. It's crazy to
yeah,
me. Everybody has a phone,
yeah.
man. Buy a tripod off Amazon for $12.50. Set it up if that's the best you can do, man. I know you can't have a
I-
spooky Lou doing Roman cam. I understand. There's only one me. But go ahead. That sounds
But
like you have an opinion as well.
yeah, and that's like us. You know what I mean? Like, we're not a high budget thing. I mean, like I said, we just started in August,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not like we're deep pockets and we're trying to be Vince McMahon or anything like that. Um, we just you know anything that we can invest in to make this better visual wise, or I have people all the time in the crowd. I mean, you can check my Facebook page. If we do a show, I'm putting a post on there. Hey, who all got videos and pictures from last night?
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see them.
Mm-hmm.
Comment below. Let me see what you got. And like me and Ace, we wrestled in Flemington, November 27th at Harvest Havoc, and um, I got some great shots from just people in the crowd.
Right.
Like, I belly to belly him on top of a table, and the girl got it like perfect angle. It looked good. I mean, it's on my TikTok. I post it anywhere on my social medias that I can, because I feel like guys need to see the stuff that they're doing, and they, like you said, how can you correct something if you don't get to watch it back to see if you did something wrong?
Mm-hmm. And I tell you what, man, when I was running EIW and people would message me wanting a spot, actually, I ran two shows, but still, I want people to know I know where I'm at mentally. But when I was running, people would message me left and right looking for a spot, and the first thing I would want is some match footage. And if you don't have any match footage, then I think you're just the average Joe off the street wanting to come in and try to wrestle. So where the hell's that footage going to come from?
Right.
Put your phone in a trainee's hand and put him ringside and record it, man. Like it's the year 2025. Let's do it. And I got you guys last show streamed it live on Facebook. It wasn't the fanciest production, but it was an angle where you could see what was going on and people could watch it and comment live as it happens. Crazy
Well,
concept.
it's just like ECW in the early days of ECW. Paul Heyman didn't hide it.
Mm-hmm.
They mess up. People
Mm-hmm.
mess up. We're human. We make mistakes. Like I said, we don't have deep pockets. ECW didn't have deep pockets.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have the money for pyro and stuff, or big lights, or all this crazy stuff. So, and like you said, a lot of people scared because they don't draw the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
They had half a bingo hall, and they would dim the lights to cover up the empty seats.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. I mean, um, but how are you going to get your name out there or show your product if you don't record it,
Mm-hmm.
or if you don't have somebody that's like following you that really likes your stuff and says, hey, can I share this? And you're like, no, because we don't have enough because it's not the best camera quality. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
As long as you get your name out there and your product and you get your talent out there, I mean, that's the main goal. We're just all trying to do business, and we're just trying to chase this dream and do what we love.
Yeah, man, and that's what really frustrates me is when you say, the talent. Yeah, I don't want my promotion to look bad. What about these guys you're saying you care about? Well, maybe you don't say you care about them, but you're pretending, they're working for you. They're doing a service for you. Sure, you're paying them, but give them some footage, man. I bet you about it all the time on the show. I won't harp on it too long. You mentioned ECW. That's a huge ECW mark, man. I used to go to so many ECW shows, stay up till 3 in the morning watching ECW. So you said my three favorite letters in the world. Give me some favorite ECW memories.
The Raven and Tommy Dreamer angle with Beulah was one of my favorites.
Okay, the one where
Um,
she's pregnant.
well, before that, when it was Tommy and Raven went to summer camp together.
Okay, okay.
Raven was the outcast. Tommy was like the jock, pretty boy, and uh, but then they brought in Beulah, which was like Tommy's ex girlfriend that he dumped or whatever, and then they played that storyline out before the pregnancy angle. But
Mm-hmm.
um, and the Raven character, like he was him and when Pillman came in.
Yeah, man. So
When Pillman was doing the loose cannon gimmick, like I loved that gimmick.
good.
That
Mm-hmm.
was top tier for me. Raven, I like the Raven gimmick, the Raven character. I don't think it got when he went to WCW and then WWE. I don't think he got the credit that he deserved,
Yeah.
but he was good. He was really good.
Yeah, man. I love me some Raven. I'll tell a story. I'll tell a Raven story. When he, of course, he left ECW, went to WCW, and then he famously walked out when Bischoff said, "Hey, if you're not happy, you can leave." So he left and went back to ECW, and that was when they first started with TNN. And we happened to go to a house show in Pittsburgh. I believe it was like a week after that TNN episode where Raven debuted. And a friend of mine that went with me, he was so excited to see Raven. Of course, I'm excited too, but this guy's a little bit more excitable than I am. So he's asking Atlas Security, "Is Raven here, man? Is Raven here?" And Atlas is like, "Man, you Mark." He said, "Everybody knows Raven don't work house shows." So he's like, "Oh man, it's gonna be a good show, but Raven's not gonna be here." So shit's going down. Dreamer's getting beat up. Here comes Raven, by golly. So, dude, that really sticks with me when they have security working the fans as well. So because
Right,
they got us hook, line, and sinker. Oh man, Raven's not going to be here. So when you see him, holy shit, Raven is here. So that's a
right.
good ECW memory for me.
And I like the storyline with Dreamer and Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was watching the Rise and Fall ECW the other night, just watching it back because Shane Douglas was coming in when he came to the Seneca Mall, and I was a big Shane Douglas ECW fan too, and I mean I still like Shane.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was watching it, and when Dreamer accidentally knocked a cigarette in Sandman's eye, and he played like he was blind.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's when kayfabe was alive and well, and like he played that part.
Yeah, man.
He didn't go anywhere. He
No.
stayed home.
Uh huh. It, yeah, stuff like that, man. And it took stuff like that to fool because they had the smart marks, the OG smart marks were there in Philly, man. Like everybody nowadays a smart mark, but these were
Yeah,
the leaders of the pack back then, man. So yeah,
yes.
tell me about because, dude, you mentioned Shane Douglas. I'll go ahead and put it out in the ether right now. That was my guy back in 98, 99, my high school days. Like Shane Douglas was my dude. I've been fortunate enough to film a few matches and of his recently. I want to go ahead and put it out in the ether. I want to try to get him on the podcast by the end of the year. I'm crossing my fingers on that, see what we can do. But my question to you, let me know how'd it go when you guys brought in Shane. Tell me about your interactions and how'd it go with Shane Douglas?
It went really, really well. He was very, very, I picked his brain a little bit, asked him about his ECW days, and stuff like that. Um, he loves it, and he loves working with young talent. And he at the end of the show, he cut a promo, and he brought me and Law and Ace in the ring, and just talked about how good our promotion was. And he said, "This is, one of the things," he said, "that I always loved." He said about West Virginia. He said, look at how many people's in this building. He said, just to support these young guys. He said, and these young guys are trying, they're full of heart. He said, you guys don't let this fade. He said, you stay with them, and the crowd was hot. I mean, it was popping. And, Shane, I feel like he, had that from the bottom of his heart, came out and said that. And then, like I said, he was very fan friendly. He was really good with us as talent. Like, we'd sit and ask him questions way before the show started. Like we had him there about an hour or so before.
Mm-hmm.
All of us were asking, and we were being marked, so we were wanting those things and
Yeah.
autographs and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a really good experience, and like I said, as a kid watching him back then and then meeting him now, like my expectations were over the moon because I was excited.
Yeah, man. And I think that's something really smart that you guys did. I know Ace is going to watch this, and I know you have a part in the booking and running of things over there. I think that's what you guys really need to focus on is bringing in guys like Shane Douglas, guys that have made it for these critics that are saying, oh, it's a bunch of trainees running the show. Okay, fair enough. Now Shane Douglas came in and taught us a few things. He's doing seminars, and don't just bring in anybody for a seminar. Yeah, like if it costs,
Yeah,
it's easy for me to say because it's not my money. I know the higher up, the more money it's going to take. But bring in these guys that have made it. Not a whole lot of people's made it out of West Virginia, man. We can count it on two hands. But bring in these guys that have made it to the big time, that can give you good advice, that can give you some, good seminars and solid training and everything. And it pays dividends, man, especially if you can win the guy over and he gives you the stamp of approval at the end of the night to hundreds of fans.
right.
Bingo, baby. We're off to the
Yeah,
races.
Seneca Mall was packed that night. And we were hot
Mm-hmm.
from the start to finish. And then, Shane, the way he talked about us and stuff, they were just, and at the end of it, we shook hands and he raised all of our arms up, and uh, the crowd was standing ovation. I mean, there was probably, counting kids and all, I mean, because like we do gravitate family and kids come to our shows a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But counting kids and all, at Seneca Mall, there was over 300 people there. I mean, I think it was pushing towards four
Hell
with
yeah.
all the kids. I mean, it was elbows to elbows in the balconies, and the floor seats were plumb full, and there were people just standing because they didn't have nowhere, to really sit. So
Good.
it was a great show. It was a great time. And I really thank Shane doing what he did because, like I said, it was a great moment, and that's one of the moments that I'll always cherish there. And then we did it with Chance Prophet. He came in. I learned a lot from him. Some because chain wrestling is a big thing for me.
Okay.
Um, I wrestled in high school, which that's been a good while back.
Right.
So I still got it and my mat skills, but some chain wrestling, I was kind of having a little bit of problems here and there trying to you know make it better.
Right on.
Some stuff, and Chance worked with us on that a lot, and he was really good. And then we got Damian Wayne coming again. We had to reschedule because of the weather and stuff there last time. He was supposed to be here January, I think it was January 2nd,
Okay.
but we had to reschedule it. So hopefully when he comes in for a seminar too, I think we could pick his brain and learn a lot from him.
No doubt. Okay. Well, here's a hypothetical for you. Let's say you hit the lottery tomorrow and you take a million or whatever you want to invest into Mountain State. Who's somebody that you can actually bring in? They can't be signed to AEW or WWE, but somebody you can actually bring in to learn from. Don't worry about the draw. Pete, I've learned about West Virginia, man. They don't know these super indie people unless it's around Conquest in that area. Don't worry about the draw. Worry about the knowledge and what it can do for you and yours. Give me three names you bring in for seminars.
You there? You froze up on me.
Oh, there you go. Okay, all right. I kind of got real mouthy and over explained it. If you hit the lottery, you got $1 million. You can bring in three names to do seminars. Not for the draw, for the knowledge and what they can teach you and yours. Give me three names you bring in for seminars.
Kurt Angle, and then Bret the Hitman Hart, and I probably would do on the third one either Shawn Michaels or Triple H.
Okay. Hell yeah. Dope. Okay. All right. Those are huge names, and yeah, a wealth of knowledge. Let's say it's $1,000. You only got $1,000. Give me a lower level one you'd bring in to get some knowledge from.
Hmm. Let's see here.
Because we got to replace Shawn Michaels and Triple H. They ain't going nowhere for nobody. Not just y'all. They ain't going
No, no,
nowhere.
I know that. Yeah, yeah, I know that for a fact.
But it'd be awesome to get their knowledge. I'd do it, and I'd pay $1 million for that. Sure.
Yeah, right. Um, probably, I'd probably try like Ken Anderson or like a Tatanka or somebody like that.
There
You
you go.
know, that would that I think they would have a good bit of knowledge too.
That's a
You know,
it's a good pick because from what I hear from Anderson at PWL, he was really helpful to the boys, and he was a sweetheart from what I hear. And I'll be
yeah,
honest with you, I was a little worried. I was a little worried when he was coming in. There was a few things that made me wonder. I was wondering if he was even going to show up, but it he pulled it off with flying colors. He gave Lane much more of a match than I expected from him, and I could hear him talking a little bit here and there, and he was very nice and very protective. So good on Ken Anderson's what I'm saying. I don't want to kill the business out here like I'm trying to do, but good on Ken Anderson. I hear he was a sweetheart.
yeah. Anderson, I think he'd be a good one to have. And we actually were talking about that the other day.
Yeah,
Um, so who knows?
yeah, man. Never say never. Never say never. Well, give me some goals. What's some goals for 2026 you'd like to accomplish?
Well, we're going through the tournament right now, so hopefully, I got a match with Nate Barkley the 30th at the AB one at Winter Warfare. So hopefully, once if I beat him and get through that, much love to Nate because I've been tagged with Nate and worked with Nate. But, I mean, that's I'm chasing it. So that's one of the things I want to win my first championship, and uh, I just still want to grow and prosper, and make good business and just spread it around. We're in talks with a lot of different venues around West Virginia. Barber, Taylor, Harrison, Tucker, Pocahontas County, Ritchie County. I'm on top of some things, so we're going to try to expand a little further. We're going to try to do some different things, and
Good.
hopefully, you know, by the end of 2026, everybody's like, we know who Mountain State Wrestling Federation is, and we can't wait to see what they're bringing, next year.
Okay. Hell yeah. All right. I dig it. Yeah, man. And to the folks outside of the area, whenever he says AB, that's a college, man. We're not talking some, little hole in the wall in Philippi, which there's many. But yeah, we're talking, this is a college campus y'all are running a show at, and I think you'll get a draw, man. I really do. So, and
I've promoted it pretty hard, and I actually was in talks with Sherry today, the lady that owns Battlers Knob,
mhm,
the college, and she's promoting it pretty heavy, and so I think I think that it's going to be a sellout show. I mean, every show we've had, we've done the two in Brownton, and Brownton's there isn't 80 people that probably live in
right,
Brownton. There's probably 60, maybe if that.
yeah,
Um, the last show we did, we pulled over 250 people, and we had to line them up across the street. We parked them in a field that I had permission to park them in, and um, I ran out of chairs. Like we ran
wow,
out of chairs. We didn't have any chairs. There was people standing, um, and that was the biggest thing I think. And I've lived in Brownton all my life, as a kid, and
mhm.
that was the biggest thing I think I've ever seen there in that community.
Yeah, man, that goes to prove, and please don't take this as a derogatory thing, but there's no exact science to this, man. The reason I say that is, yeah, I'm sure you guys promoted hard and you deserve, that crowd. I think there's a lot of places that deserve that crowd. But I come from a small town too. I'm in Monongah right now, and there were shows running Monongah. So when it was time for this last Monongah show, I put it in overdrive because my name's on the show. I went around Monongah handing people flyers, talking to people about wrestling. I put flyers everywhere as far as the channel, my socials, promoted the hell out of it, man. And there was people on that show that I think people around here know. I'm the hometown boy. I ain't shit. I ain't wrestling, but I'm on the show. You know what I mean? And point
Right.
is, I worked my ass off, man. I've bitched about it on this show enough. I worked my ass off, and I don't even want to know what the draw was. It was nothing. It wasn't a fourth of what I expected. One person that told me they were going to come showed up. Shout out to Doreen, the my nice old lady bird friend that showed up. But yeah, that's kind of my point, man. You guys must be doing something right because there is no exact science to this. You can do everything right and draw 12 people, and or you can come right out the gate like you guys, trainees running a show, and have 250 in Brownton, West Virginia. And I think you really do need to keep hitting these small towns in West Virginia because they don't get a whole lot, man. That's why we have the opiate epidemic that we have because all there is to do around here is drugs, man. Drugs, and you have
Yep.
young kids watching, so I won't say what the other thing is, but we pop out a lot of babies around here, is what I'm saying. There ain't a whole lot to
And,
do.
and there's not, and I, that's something that I've tried to do too. Like, we're taking new trainees in February, and I've advertised that, and talked to people around here and stuff, and I told them, I think it would be good for a troubled youth, to get into something other than the bad, and try to make something good out of it. And then, um, we try to, we don't push religion on anybody or anything like that, but we try to keep stuff a little family and faith based. And um, you know, if we can get some kids that need the help, we will be glad to. If
Good.
it would keep them out of trouble or jail or worse,
Right.
we are open to that.
I love that. I love that because believe me, there's a lot of troubled adults that are in the wrestling business. So why can't we look out for the kids?
Right.
So I'm all for it, man. Good for you. Good for all of you. Well, we talked about 2026 goals. At the end of the day, when the career's all said and done, what do you want the legacy to be? What's some goals you'd like to hear hit by the time it's all said and done?
I just to have my name out there, and just show that I've done my very best to entertain everybody that ever came to watch me. You know, I'd mentioned, my brother passing um, last July,
Mm,
and he was 16, and he was a big part of this dream of mine to do this. Um, so just to kind of just just to try to keep that dream alive, and push it to the very end, and maybe get a couple title runs. Um, Ring on, or anything small like that. Like that's one of my biggest things. Like, if I just knew I could do one TV taping somewhere,
there you go.
I'd be happy. I'd just be happy.
I get it. I get it, man. Yeah, it's all about
Yes,
living the dream, man. The dream can be selling out Monongah Town Hall. Maybe one day I'll be able to do that. But the dream's different for everybody. It doesn't have to be WWE or AEW. I always said my dream. I don't want to go to the big leagues. I would go in a heartbeat. Give me a check. I'll come work for you. But I would like to build something right here. I'd like to build a WWE right here. But that's easier said than done. What can you do?
and kind of that's what we're not really trying to do, like WWE. I mean, we do want better production. We do want, we want to be a TV based wrestling organization right here in West Virginia. We want to be one of the first ones to break that barrier, to where, you know, kind of like they used to do in the Memphis days, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, just I'd like to find something like that. That's why I'm kind of glad that we're doing Battler's Knob. Like I'd like to get with Sherry and maybe do a couple shows there a year, and then with this WDTV thing, maybe I can get them to come down and start recording, and then maybe I can get a spot somewhere. If I could get a televised spot somewhere and run a couple shows a month or a weekly show or bi-weekly show, um, I don't think it would do anything but make the wrestling business better. And I think for around here, that would be the top tier goal is to
Mm-hmm.
just get us somewhere to where it puts West Virginia wrestling on the map and everybody's looking at it. Not only us, but some of the other organizations even.
Good on you, man. Yeah, because that West Virginia's still wide open, man. Still wide open for the taking. Ain't nobody took it yet. You could argue this guy or that guy. Nah. And you talk about being on TV. That's not an unattainable goal. You talk about Joe Brody records TV every Thursday, and it goes out to so many different states, syndicated with so many channels across the United States. And yeah,
Right.
and I would love to get up and boom pop on the TV Saturday morning and see some local wrestling with guys I know or venues I'm familiar with, like we need something like that around here. And the game's still wide open. People's tried for years, and it's anybody's ball game, man. It really is. Like people crap on the no ring in Morgantown. They're drawing and they're making new wrestling fans. I've been in the crowd and heard the people talking. I didn't know wrestling was like this. The game's still wide open, man, but there's just not a whole lot of wrestling fans around here. And if they are, the economy sucks too. I say that all the time. Ain't none of us got any money, so it's hard,
And,
but it's doable.
we get bashed. We got bashed for the show we did in Broughton, the uh, grave consequences we did in Broughton in October. We only charged $5,
Okay.
and we ended up on some kind of Facebook page, a Trash Bag Wrestling Facebook
Oh,
page or
okay.
something.
Okay.
Um, because they were like, "Oh, you got a crappy flyer and you're only charging $5." You can't. It's just like this Battler's Knob. We're charging $10 at the door, kids 10 and under free.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's Philippi. You're not going to sell a venue out. I mean, a big one like that. That's a big place. Coliseum's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're not going to sell it out selling tickets $25, $30 for front row. You're not going to do it.
There you go. Yeah. You mentioned trash bag wrestlers. That gives me a good segue to speak my opinion on these guys. I checked that page, and you know what? I like when they're exposing the weirdo pedophiles out there and exposing the weirdos, sure. And you know what? I check out the crappy flyers, and I have a laugh here and there. But like you said, man, it's independent wrestling. This ain't nothing new. Good Lord, look at some of the stuff from the early 2000s, or you think that's bad? Check out a flyer from New York City with a big name on it, and we've come miles since then. So
Yeah,
they pick. They're very picky, and hmm, I don't know. I don't.
yeah. We had a guy on there. My sister kind of pretty much buried him on there because he was he's like, I've been in the business 20 years, and my sister said, well, it's awful funny. If you've been in the business here in West Virginia for 20 years, nobody knows who you are.
There's so many of those. There are so many of those. Oh my goodness, there's so many of those. And it's not just here. They'll come here from Tennessee or everywhere. There's so many of those. I've been in the business 30 years. Well, buddy, you've had 3 matches. Like I could come
Yeah,
on here and say I could lie and say I've been in the business since 2010, since some idiot booker let me in the ring without a lick of training. But no, I had a couple matches back in 2010. I did a couple security gigs, ran the camera a couple times, and then I joined RSW at the end of 2023. It's not that hard, man. I had a guy on my podcast when I first started. It was Twist. It was Marcus Twist, his first interview. And I asked him, I said, how long you been in the business? And he said, oh, a little over a year and a half. And his trainer ripped his ass apart because you don't say that. Well, at some point, he was in the business for a year and a half. Like, Why can't
Right.
you say that? It goes back to the worrying about what the other guy says. I'm done worrying about what people say about old Spooky Lou and
And that's the way
WrestleRoni.
with me. I just let it roll off my back. Like, all the derogatory and negative comments that we had, I mean, when we started and stuff, and I never said a word.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't have really anything bad to say about anybody else. You know, RSW, I was glad that they opened the door for me, but it was time to grow and move on, and that's what we did. And um, I have no hard feelings towards anybody. I try to, just go on. Like, I'm not going to clutch and worry about what they're or anybody else is saying, or like the trash bag site.
Hmm.
I was just like, whatever. But I feel like I feel like a lot of those guys, when they make these negative comments, and you know they're, oh, you're this and that or whatever, or like the trash bag guys comments on there, they were talking, you know saying different things, and I just feel like when they treat people the way that they were treating us, it's crapping on not only the business but the people before us, the old men that's humped over and can hardly walk, or like Draws, he was in a wheelchair till he passed.
Yeah.
And I feel like, we're going in those ropes, we're putting our bodies on the line, and then you guys are, they're on there saying stuff about a flyer and $5. Like,
Yeah.
it's
That,
just sad. It's
that
sad.
that's the important stuff, the how the flyer looks. Which, hey, I just came on the last podcast and said, hey, on WrestleRoni, we're going to start reviewing matches, and if you shit the bed, you shit the bed, because I know the wrestling enjoy or the internet, not just wrestling community, the internet enjoys a little bit of negativity, and it's just a personal thing. I'm tired of being Mr. Nice Guy and getting shit on for it. So you're a better man than me. And whenever I talk about critics and everything, you guys have two critics. You have the RSW crowd and you have the trash bag wrestling crowd. So the fuck what? It ain't a bunch of people saying this and that, It's people that have a hair up their ass because you left, and a guy and a page that has a hair up their ass for everybody. So good on
Right.
you. Like, if there's some constructive criticism in there somewhere you can give me to help me, I'll take it. But it's just hating for the sake of hating because you got some personal feelings involved.
And one thing about it, if they're hating us, we're doing something right because it's bothering them,
Yeah.
is the way I see it. Like, why else would you dwell on it? If we're not doing something that you're not, and if we're, like, say we're pulling more people or something, and they're, losing fan base, that's not our fault, but we must be doing something that they don't like, and we're doing something good. So I don't worry about it. Like I said, I try not to say anything negative about anybody. Um, I just kind of, I'm like humble when back
Uh-oh.
that into wrestling.
Oh my.
Like you said, you're going to have critics. You're going to have something.
Right. I missed most of that. My computer just decided to crap all over it. They're trying to censor you out here. Run it back for me. Give me the cliff notes. What was it?
I just said, like, if they're talking bad about us, we're just probably, something's intimidating, or they're just, their feelings are hurt about something. And I said, I'm just the kind of guy that I'm humble, and I don't feed into that kind of negativity. I just let it roll. Unless they say something about my family, or push that bad button there, then the gloves are off. But
Yeah.
I try to be humble, and I just want to do business for everybody. Like, I want it to benefit, if not only benefit us, but if it can benefit somebody else or another organization, or if we get a guy that comes in from another organization, um, let it, just pick one and then they try to tear it apart. I mean, I just don't understand.
Oh,
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That's the way it should be.
it's the way it should be. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. But believe me, everybody wants to take. Oh, Spooky Lou knows better than anybody. But I'm not going to get on a negative tangent towards the end of the show. But they'll take all they can get whenever you might need something in return. Hoo hoo. But like I say, I'm going to behave, and we're going to be all right today. We're rolling into the end of the show, John Michael. So at the end of the show, I give everybody the opportunity to plug up the upcoming events. If you got any merch out there, definitely shout out your socials. Anything you want to put out in the ether, you just have right at it, Bubby.
All right. Yeah, we got the January 30th show coming up at Ballar's Knob here in Philippi. And then we're working on February. I haven't exactly got everything situated for February yet, but we do have March coming up too. We're going to have a show in Buchanan. So we're in works with that. But really, right now, the Ballar's Knob is a big one for us, and we're getting into that tournament. We're going to the finals. Um, I'm going to advance. I'm going to try my best to advance, and like I said, Nate's my friend, but I'm going to try to get that title belt. I'm chasing that dream, chasing that belt. So, let the best man win there. Um, they can hit us up on any of the socials. They can hit me up on American Made John Michael. I got my own page. Ace Morgan has his. Martial Law. Uh, Nate Barkley. I don't know if Hunter Costello and them have theirs yet. But they can hit any of us up on Mountain State Wrestling Federation too on Facebook or anything like that. I think Ace said we even have Instagram, maybe.
Okay.
I don't have Instagram, but I think Ace has it on Instagram.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, we'll get Ace on here, and he can confirm or deny. How about that? That sounds like a good, nice little setup to get him back on the show.
That sounds good.
Hell yeah, Bubby. Well, I appreciate you joining me, and I'll tell you, man, try to keep that mindset you have now. Whenever I started this podcast, the first episode, I went on about how wrestling needs more positivity, and positive energy can move mountains, and there's too much negativity in wrestling. And almost 4 years later, I come on here and cry and whine and bitch and moan more than anybody. So I'm just saying, it's stressful. It'll change you. Know who the good ones are. Even if you think you're a good judge of character, you're not, because they're workers and you'll get worked. But I'm just,
Yep.
My point is, do the best you can to keep the mindset you're giving me right now. I'd love to bring you back sooner than 3 years from now, but I'd love to talk to you in 3 years so we could reflect on this interview and you could be like, well, okay, all right, but keep the mindset, Bubby. I like where your head's at, and the entire roster. Anytime I check that group chat, I'll be honest, I turn off the notifications because you guys are busy there, man. You guys are busy, and I get enough notifications without. So I check in from time to time. You guys support each other. You look out for each other, and you guys are good guys. That's my point. So I think that has a lot to do with your success. You talk about not forcing religion on people. That's fine, but the Lord looks out for those that are living life right, and I think that's part of the reason you're drawing the way you are. So keep the mindset and keep doing what you're doing.
And I think so too. And it's if you have the faith of size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And I think that's what we're doing. We're moving mountains, and thank God, because if it wasn't for God, we wouldn't be in the spotlight we're in now, and we wouldn't be where we're at. I mean, we would, that's how I feel about it. But yeah, so hopefully in another year or so, my daughter, she's my manager, Jada Michael. She comes out with me every show. So hopefully here in the near future, she's starting to train some, and maybe when we get our women's division opened up, you'll be seeing some of her on there.
I love it. Hell yeah, man. Well, enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. Share it with the family, and look out for the family. I'll ask you to hang on the line with me if you would. And to the listeners, this is why we do it, man. Good people doing good things. Mountain State Wrestling Federation is shining. Check them out when they come to your town if you're in the area. If you're not in the area, buy a plane ticket and come on down to West Virginia. See what the hell we're doing. As far as the Roni, you want to stay tuned. We got plenty of more interviews coming up. I got some plans. We got new shows starting. We're just going to stir it all up. You'll see what I'm talking about. In the meantime, treat each other with kindness and respect, but don't take no shit from nobody. Go out there and live your dreams. Be the best you can be. Support independent wrestling. Enjoy wrestling. What a crazy concept. Try to enjoy wrestling. Support your favorites. Look out for you and yours. Be the best you can be. Spooky Lou loves you. We're out of here.